If children are our future, what investments are we making in them? The city of West Sacramento is making first-of-a-kind investments, from college savings to universal preschool, college scholarships, and more. Joining us today are West Sacramento Mayor Christopher Cabaldon and FutureReady Executive Director Chris Worden. Next on Studio Sacramento.
At Five Star Bank, we create thoughtful solutions to help the Capital Region thrive, from economic development and education to public health and safety, issues that are vitally important to Sacramento's prosperity. We're proud to be part of the conversation and hope you'll join in.
Thank you both for joining us today. Before we begin, let's watch part of a story from our statewide series, Inside California Education, that provides an overview of the West Sacramento Home Run initiative.
In 2006, West Sacramento city leaders decided to implement a universal preschool program, using grants and public funds to make high-quality preschool available for all of their children. 2 brand new preschool programs were opened and run by the city. At the time, the concept of universal preschool was brand new, and the relatively small city of West Sacramento was considered a leader.
It was among the first in the nation, especially for cities of our size, and the success of that program and all the accolades and support that it got, I think led us to believe that maybe we could do something even bigger.
For city leaders, that meant establishing a Cradle to Career program, one that would ensure all kids in the city had access not just to preschool, but high-quality schools all the way through college. The Kids Home Run initiative uses the city's successful universal preschool as a foundation. That's first base. Second base comes when that preschooler moves on to kindergarten, and the city opens a $50 college savings account in their name. As a student grows, they earn digital badges for different accomplishments, like volunteering and learning new skills. In high school, which is third base, students can use those digital badges to get a paid internship, a real job. Then, when they're ready for college, they reach home plate, where they can get their first full year at Sacramento City College's West Sacramento Center completely paid for. It's called the College Promise. If they go somewhere other than a community college, they're eligible for scholarships.
Mayor Cabaldon, how's the program going?
You know, it's going remarkably well. I think we knew that making some strategic but integrated investments in young people in our city would pay off. The response from young people and their families has been enormous. The sign-ups for the college savings accounts, the sign-ups for free college, and of course for universal preschool have been really far beyond what we expected, and it's won a whole bunch of national awards and grants and what have you to support it, because it's really one of the most exciting educational initiatives in the country, and our local residents starting to pick up on it.
When this program was first conceived, what was the problem you were trying to solve?
Well, we had a couple. One was that we've had traditionally, for generations, had one of the highest unemployment rates in the region. And you'd think as mayor, well, okay, my job is to create some more jobs. But we actually have more jobs than we have adult workers.
Really?
Yeah, we have more jobs than we have people, and we don't really ask our 5-year-olds to work. So we have plenty of jobs, and a lot more really great jobs in manufacturing, logistics, but also companies like Bayer and science and technology. So a wide range of jobs, still unemployment, because we didn't have the right skills and the right credentials and degrees in our city. Second, we would have a good number of parents would say, look, my child's about to turn 5. I'm not sure if I can still stay in West Sacramento, or I need to move to Elk Grove or Davis or somewhere that has a reputation for great schools. And our schools have been improving, but the best way to have strong schools is for families that care about schools to stay. So part of the purpose of the Home Run was to, a boost to confidence and investment and energy in young people's success would cause families to stay in town, and cause young people to want to come back home and raise their own families.
Very important. Chris, share with us a success story of someone who has benefited from this program.
So the FutureReady portion of the Home Run surrounds internships for high school students who are juniors and seniors, and one young lady comes to mind for me, which is Treasurer Acevedo, who she was working through the engineering pathway, career technical education through River City High School. She had reached out to the city of West Sacramento, which is one of the internship employers. They're a model for us. And she got hired on to do some transportation work. And as part of her internship experience, there were very specific benchmarks that she hit that showcased her skill set. She was able to earn digital badges that are connected, which, we had some of that discussion. And now because she completed the digital badges, she actually got preferential hiring for the next round of internships. And right now she is at Sacramento State studying to try and get her urban planning degree while working part-time with the city. So, all of these pieces together, that she was in that pathway that helped her get career exposure, helped her lead her into the work with the city. Digital badging helped her get to the next level with the city, and now she works there part-time.
Is this in part trying to address those kids who aren't going necessarily to a four-year, even though in this case, this young woman did go to a four-year university? But it seems like we almost have this mantra in society where if you don't go to the four-year, there's no path for you whatsoever. Was this program in part designed to address that?
I think that it's fair to say that there's a bias towards college because we know what all the research suggests in terms of lifetime learning or earning capacity. I think the emphasis for us, though, is to make sure that there is something that allows somebody to move up through a career trajectory. And it seems that college, that additional level of training, is critical to get there. If you have a situation where there is a company or there's a apprenticeship or something like that where the same level of skills that are marketable and valuable for the youth, I think that's something that it's open, but I don't think that we were looking to solve that. Sometimes people call it like low skills gap, so I don't think of FutureReady's work of being directed toward that. I think it's just trying to make sure that we maximize the potential for every youth, so that they're given career exposure early on. They get the idea of whether they like a particular thing or not. We had interns last summer, and one of the things that struck me the most was we're asking surveys, and what did you think about your internship? Does this make you more wedded to a particular pathway? And the response I took to heart was a young man who said, "I don't know what I want to do, but I know it's not that." Which is valuable because that's the winnowing process. There are so many young people that go to college and they're trying to find themselves in college, and they find themselves with no degree and a lot of student debt because they don't really know why they're there. And the research demonstrates that if you go to college and they ask people and they'll say, "Well, why are you here?" and they say, "To learn," which seems like an eminently reasonable response. Those are the folks that are most likely not to graduate. It's when they get connected to something that's career specific, even if that won't be the career that they take. Ultimately, we've got to get to a point where people are going to pivot in their lives. They're going to have 4 or 5 careers now. It's not the old days where you do that one thing in a factory floor for 40 years. But at least if we can help them move to the first pivot sooner with less, debt, we put them in a much different place.
So here's my question, Mayor Cabaldon. You work with mayors all across the country on a whole variety of issues. It's unusual to hear, well, maybe it's just unusual for me, to hear about a city and its elected leadership getting that involved in education. I mean, there's some cities like New York where there is more of a direct connection. But in some ways, you all are, the city of West Sacramento is kind of working in tandem or somehow taking a role in the educational process that seems unusual and different.
It is. In some sense, it's not in that most residents, they know that there's a school district, but still fundamentally like, "Hey, Mayor, what are you doing to fix education or making sure my kid has an opportunity?" So they may know that we don't actually have responsibility for education and workforce development, but fundamentally they don't care. It's like, the mayor, your job is to take care of this city. And whether it's reducing youth unemployment and youth crime, and folks entering gangs or other things that we don't want for them, being able to attract great new companies who are looking to having a quality workforce, or whether it's just making sure that the whole city is getting better together and all boats are rising, we have to. So yeah, it's true. I mean, for mayors all across the country, including West Sac, we police department, fire department, we might have got to make sure your toilet when you flush it goes away and the water comes on in the morning on the shower. We have our core job to do. But it turns out that you can't do those jobs effectively if you don't attend to economic and educational opportunity in your city. And so we're spending a very small total number of dollars, but making high leverage investments right at the points in the pipeline that are going to maximize educational opportunity.
Many, many, many eons ago, when I was in high school, we had a thing called ROP, which was sort of like a high school internship style program. And we mostly kind of stood around for the 3 hours, the half a day we were there. What was deficient in the offerings of the school system that led to the creation of this type of program?
I think a couple things. One was we would often think of ROP as for the other kids, right? There were the kids that are going to college, and then there are the kids who we need to have some alternative for. And we were pretty confident that we knew who was who. And the reality is everybody should be doing both things, right? Sending kids off to college without any exposure to what career is or thinking about what they want to do or what it means to show up on time is a recipe for disaster. And the same thing is for kids who we don't think of as college bound. They can be if you start, if you earn your apprenticeship in construction trades and you pick up a little bit of geometry along the way, you're like, wait, maybe I could be good at math. And you pick it up and say, maybe I want to go to Stanford. And you got to open up both
Or
paths.
maybe for the first time they see somebody doing the work and they say, maybe I can do that. If you never actually see someone, how can you aspire to that?
That's right. And I think the other thing that's changed is schools are much better than they were before around seeing the connections between curriculum and what's happening outside their doors. So teachers are a big fan of this kind of work because the kids that are like Treasure, who's going in her internship, is applying some of the lessons and seeing some of the realities of what public works engineering is like, is a better student because she's seeing. This is why algebra matters. This is why that thing that my teacher was bothering about, why my boss just told me the same thing at work. So it's about strengthening those bonds, bringing to life the academics in ways that really make it relevant.
And if I could, I think there might be a misconception too when people talk about career technical education, which when I was in school, people call it shop. It's where if you don't like philosophy or Shakespeare, you're going to go build car engines. But it's so different now. And in Washington Unified School District, it's very STEM focused. It's computer science and ag science and engineering design, and there's a science tech and engineering academy. There's an ag science pathway in addition to residential construction and the dramatic arts and video production and culinary as well. So it's much broader. And one of my colleagues said, she was at a job fair and a lady came up and said, well, what do you do? And she said, well, I'm in charge of career technical education. And she said, oh, my kid's going to college. And she walked off. So the idea that somehow this is a tracking choice, it's not. It's like the mayor said, we have the opportunity to direct students to something that is their passion, but also something that's going to be valuable long-term for them from a career perspective. And I think I'd be remiss if I didn't at least give some acknowledgement for Washington Unified School District, the career technical education. They are so invested in this work and the internship piece. It's something they really believe in, and they've been a great partner for us. And that's one of the things I love about the whole Home Run effort. It is an amalgam of a lot of really good partners.
It's interesting because both of you are obviously very excited about this program. What is it that inspires you the most about what you're seeing and what's taking place on the ground?
I think that for the internship part, it's just seeing the outcome after a summer. I was really surprised when I started this work 2 years ago that there are so many young people who they'll be graduating seniors and they've never had a job. So that was astonishing, but then to see the impact that it has. It makes such a huge difference, not only for them from a career perspective, because we know that if you earn an internship in high school, you're more likely to get one in a college, which is more likely to get you hired. You're looking at lifetime earnings of $1,000 more per year just because of that internship piece, but also that they became better students. So the seniors that we had in internships that are going off to college and they've had their first experience, I'll meet with them regularly and they'll tell me, we're in a position now where I do better at multitasking than I ever would have. The planning is better. I'm able to do better in study groups. So it's not only just the technical skills, it's also some of the soft skills that they learn.
Well, asking you the same question.
Yeah, and it's picking up the skills to keep learning. So at the very beginning of this pipeline is why preschool plus college savings accounts plus internships plus free-college. It's a package, right? It's not just one of these one-off interventions that the public sector
actually
is known
take us through the process.
Yeah. So the first base of the Home Run is at the very beginning. It's we work to connect every West Sacramento 4-year-old basically to high-quality preschool. Evidence-based, high-quality preschool. Doesn't mean we pay for it all. many children qualify for already free preschool, and many parents can afford preschool, but they can't find quality. So we're doing both to make sure it's available for everyone. And then after finishing preschool, you enter kindergarten, and every child gets a college savings account of $100. And the research says that you're 3 times more likely to go to college having even $50 in a college savings account. Yeah, and if your parents didn't go to college, 7 times more likely. And it's a great example of the home run because we're spending about $40,000 on college savings accounts for every kindergartner to achieve a 3 to 7 times impact on their likelihood of going to college. What a terrific investment. Then in high school, the system of digital badges that's rewarding and recognizing.
Yeah, what is a digital badge?
A digital badge is basically a way to mark and signal an achievement or a skill that you've accomplished or learned in a way that is transferable, that's valid.
Give us an example.
So, for example, we issue digital badges to students, young people who complete internships inside City Hall. But the badges, it's not just a gold star saying thanks for spending the summer with us here in the Public Works Department. Embedded in the digital badge is the kinds of skills, the projects, the things that you did in order to earn different levels of badges. The value of that then is if you then go to an engineering firm that works on public works projects, they can see that badge. It's not just that you told them, yeah, I spent a few weeks working in public works and now I know some stuff. The badge says to that employer or to the college, if you're applying for a civil engineering program, you did this thing, you know how to do these things.
It's interesting you mention that because one of the things that I've heard is that young people, even if they've accomplished things in internships, they sometimes are not able to articulate those things very well. And it sounds like this might be a way of addressing it.
It is, in part because the badge, not just for the young person, right? To make the badge in the first place, we had to sit down and say, okay, but what do we want an internship to be? Like, what are the standards? What are the activities? How does it connect? Basically, what's the curriculum for this in order to issue that badge? So it makes the internship provider much more intentional, as opposed to, I don't know, my cousin said, his daughter needed an internship, so we said, fine, drop her off. This is a real thing, and therefore at the end you can judge and measure your success in that domain, and the young person then has this validated digital credential that she can use.
Chris, how are young people using this right now?
So when you earn a digital badge, the most common place that you put it in, it goes in as a certification for a LinkedIn profile, which has become really...
These young people have LinkedIn profiles?
They're getting there. I'm going to be honest and tell you that half of them in the last summer didn't even know what LinkedIn was. So that's part of the effort too.
It's okay. There are a lot of adults my age that don't know what LinkedIn is.
Or at least don't know what it's for.
Don't know how to properly use it, but I think your point is a good one in that, talking with a lot of young folks who are interested in our program, we interview them, they have a deficit in terms of what I call vocational vocabulary. They don't know how to articulate what their skills are. So just the process of building the digital badges, and like the mayor said, anybody who creates a digital badge, you have to really put some intellectual legwork into it. You have to think through what are the specific skills we want to teach, how are we going to test them, and why are they important? So, for example, an intern that works with the city of West Sacramento in community relations is going to have a digital badge that will have 5 skills that would include video production, building a press event, and executing that event, doing content creation for social media, and then being able to measure the metrics for social media. But also, in the digital badge, it explains why it's important that the city uses video to tell compelling stories of their successes for their constituents. And the hope is that as the students are going through these digital badges, they become conversant and understand why that's valuable, so that the intern who works in community relations can go to a public relations firm and they say, well, why should we hire you? And she can say, well, because I was an intern with the city of West Sacramento and I learned how to do video that can deliver these compelling narratives of the successes. So that's a big part of it. Is it's not only building the skills, it's making sure that they can, once they get the skills, showcase them in the right way and get that vocational vocabulary.
One of the reasons why that's so essential is, I think, and you hinted at this, which is that it is no longer the case that I'm going to, when I graduate from high school or college, that I'm going to sign up for my first job and stay in that employer or even in that career, right? I mean, which used to be the norm, but now not only a young person that graduates this year is likely to have 8 or 9 or 15 jobs during their lifetime, they're likely to switch careers at least 3 times. And so being able to distill not just the fact that I am a nurse or I am a teacher, but actually then to recode it as I can do video production, I am good at working with difficult human beings, that I have these sets of skills that I then, when I'm making the pivot, as automation, consumes my job, and now I have to now I have an opportunity somewhere else. Being able to have this vocabulary of career is essential for a lifetime of success.
How are you? Oh, go
I was
ahead.
going to say, I think it ushers in too an important cultural change, which is that young people need to know that their life journey, no matter what they're going to do, it's going to require them to constantly acquire new skills and showcase those skills.
Being a lifelong learner,
Absolutely.
essentially. I'm curious, Mayor Cabaldon, how are you going to measure success?
So we have a set of key performance indicators for the full home run, as well as for each of the individual components, and they include measures that you would expect. What proportion of students are ready for kindergarten after preschool, and at the later stages, how many students have earned digital badges that are accepted for something by an employer or by a college? How many students go on to college, but more importantly, how many students finish a certificate or a degree? So there are those core kind of key performance indicators that are incorporated, but also at the macro level. What I want to know, the numbers I want to reduce is the proportion of parents that feel that at age 5 they need to move to Davis or Elk Grove, or as their child is leaving middle school to be ready for high school, that they don't even think about sending them out of the city to another school. That the confidence in West Sacramento as a great place to grow up and raise a family is dramatically increased. And so we're going to be measuring both our mechanical indicators that are critical to our success, but also what is it doing for the economic health of the city.
I know it's early on, but what are the outcomes thus far that you're most proud of?
I think, so it is extremely early. We've been doing the College Promise portion now. This will be our second class. We've had a couple summers of internships, so the components are all coming together. But we've seen in preschool, for example, that children, 4-year-olds who are from families where English is not their first language, entering kindergarten with the same language skills, word count, that sort of thing, as kids from English-speaking households. That's an enormous gap closing right at that stage. And what we're already seeing from the college savings account signups, which are through the roof, is the demand, the latent demand in our community for this kind of opportunity is really showing itself. We're just getting underway. All the pieces are being put together, and we actually haven't even done any significant marketing because we want to make sure we actually have a program that works. But all the indicators are super positive.
You're oversubscribed with no marketing?
Yeah, we're not oversubscribed, so we're ready. I mean, I should say that the voters provided the funding, the core funding for this program, and it's very tightly designed. As I said, the college savings account's only $40,000, but these small but big impact, high leverage investments are really making a difference, and we're definitely seeing the response on the ground.
The thing I'd say for the internship piece, I did want to speak to this, is the best success story, because we help subsidize employers. They're skeptical sometimes about what high school students can do. When we had 2 of our interns from this past summer, they were hired on after the summer ended, and we knew we'd built something that was really of value, and then just to talk with them and see their passion for the field, and that they're more committed to this field that they're in. So I think that's a great success.
I think that is a high note where it is that we're just going to leave it for right now. Wishing you both and the program much success. Thank you both for coming.
Thanks so much, Scott.
And that's our show. Thanks to our guests, and thanks to you for watching Studio Sacramento. I'm Scott Syphax. See you next time right here on KVIE.
Go to kvie.org/InsideCalEd to watch the full Inside California Education segment featuring the Kids Home Run initiative.
At 5-Star Bank, we create thoughtful solutions to help the Capital Region thrive, from economic development and education to public health and safety, issues that are vitally important to Sacramento's prosperity. We're proud to be part of the conversation and hope you'll join in.
All episodes of Studio Sacramento, along with other KVIE programs, are available to watch online at kvie.org/video.